Hey fellas, I just listened accidentally to a voicemail of my, I guess I'll consider it an ex, even though we never really officially dated. That's fine, I guess. It'll be fine. It gets a point across. And it was, I re-listened to the voicemail because I was deleting voicemails that didn't matter, like my mom and my dad just being like, hey, feed the dog, or whatever. And I clicked on it because I didn't recognize the number. And it was him just saying like, yeah, and that's it. Like it wasn't like a sentence or a conversation. It was just like him screaming, of course. And I don't know, I started thinking about like everything, and like at that time where that was taken, and I don't know, it sounds dumb. It sounds like I'm fragile, like it's a trigger or something. Like it's not that bad. I just got shivers and like got really upset for no reason because I'm weak like that. He hurt a lot of people. And I don't think any of us really talk about it, except for like Mallory. But she talks about it almost too much. And is trying to get too involved in it. And she was really good friends with him, and like he did something awful to her that he did to like all of us, you know. But I don't know. She didn't date him. She didn't like not date him. Whatever I did, she wasn't like in like a weird kind of relationship with him for like a few weeks. It was different, I think, for me. And she wants to talk about it all the time and like get other people involved in it and whatever, and like talk to other people who experienced it. I try to get super involved in it, but I just want to forget so badly. It's not suppressing it. Like, I've gone through the motions. I'm with someone else now. I'm happy, you know, and I really don't want to think about him and what he did to me. And I get if Mallory needs help, like, I'm there for her. I just don't want to talk about it ever. It feels like reliving a nightmare. That's really what it was. It was just me trying to get out of it, and then him saying really manipulative stuff to keep me. Like, I think at one point I was like, you know, we can just be friends. Like, I want to be there for you. I don't want you to like die or anything. I want to be just your friends. And he said, no, I don't need a friend. And I'll kill myself if you try to just become friends with me, which confused me because what's the difference? Like, we barely did anything physical unless he came over and pressured me into it. Nothing virginity-wise. I didn't give him that, thank God. But I didn't want to do any of that stuff. And Mallory didn't either. And I doubt the other girls that were involved in it wanted to, except for maybe his like really long-term girlfriend, who seemed okay. But and everyone wants to favor the underdog, you know, like you hear stories and he's like, no, it's all a misunderstanding, I didn't actually do this, and all of the majority of the people are just lying to fuck with me and stuff. And at first it's like, oh, that makes total sense, like your story, I believe you. I want to be there for the underdog. I want to make sure this person isn't hurting too much from everyone just assuming that he's awful. But that kind of made all of his friends overlook the truth that he did do that. And everyone has a reason for hating him so much. And even after I was like, no, we're gonna not do this anymore. Like, I can't do this anymore with you. And he went to rehab, and I got a boyfriend, a real one, like a good one. I still didn't recognize how awful he was to me. Like, I still thought it was my fault what happened. That if I was more aware and knew what to do and didn't say stupid stuff all the time, then it wouldn't have happened the way it did. But it's not true. It happened exactly how he wanted it to happen, except me just finally breaking up with him then because I couldn't stand it anymore. And I didn't love him at all. And I thought I did, because he told me I did. And I sound so stupid now. Like, how could I believe all of this stuff? I wasn't even that naive. I was 15. It feels so far away now. But it was in this year. I'm older. I'm 16, but it feels like he's still there. And I don't know where he is. I don't even know if he's alive still. I'm pretty sure he is, because I don't think he'd ever kill himself. He threatens it a lot, but I don't think he will. And it's like, sometimes I do something, and I think, oh, I shouldn't have done that. It makes me feel like I'm just like him. Or I compare someone else to him, and then I stop trusting them. I think they're out to get me, manipulating me, but they're not. They're just people. And he was a person, kind of. And he did things, and people do things that are similar, but they're not the same intentions, and I get so skeptical of other people. And then I guess it's trust issues. I don't know. I was just left ruined. I was so I felt like I was powerless, and I had no choice. It was either I would leave and be selfish, and everyone would hate me because all of my friends were friends with him, or I could stay and be miserable and keep being. It's sexual assault. I'm not gonna pretend it's not like that. And verbally harassed and just bashed on every day. And it wasn't like fighting. Like, I've been in fights with my actual boyfriend, and it all turns out fine in the end because it's just getting through things. But this was just him saying how awful I am to him and how much he does for me, and I do absolutely nothing for him, and I don't care about him, and that I never cared about him, and that he was gonna kill himself because of me. And I would plead. I would be like, no, I do. And I'll prove it. I'll work on it more. I'll do anything. Please just don't go kill yourself. Because I don't want him to die. I didn't want him to die. just wanted to be happy again. Because, I'm not like the happiest person, but I can be happy, and I was happier before. Maybe lonely, but then it was better than that. I couldn't remember what it was like before. And it felt like a total burden all the time, and I would always have to keep my phone on and make sure he wasn't having a breakdown because of me not answering, and I couldn't talk to certain people, and I would be asked to go out on like a friend thing, and I would have to say no because I couldn't leave him. And I tried to break it off 5 times in, I think, less than a week, maybe. And the only reason I was able to do it is because I talked to my friend about it and told her if anything happens to Zaid and he says it's my fault, would she stop being friends with me? And she said she would never stop being friends with me over another person. Unless I, actually murdered them. And so I thought, okay, what do I have to lose then? Besides my friendship with everyone else. But I didn't really care because, I was already losing everyone anyway. I was lashing out because of it. I was just emotionally unstable. I was wobbly. I was on the rails of a staircase, and I could easily get down and just walk on the stairs, but I was delusional and didn't see it as an option. It was like, if I messed up, if I fell, someone would die, and it'd be all my fault. And it's because I didn't care enough. And I was so selfish. And sometimes I think back, was I selfish? Being selfish isn't always a bad thing. I just wanted to be okay again. And I met my boyfriend, and he made me feel better when we weren't dating. And I didn't know I could feel better after something like that happened. And he went to rehab because I think he tried to shoot himself or something. And I thought he was dead because no one told me he was in rehab for 2 weeks. And in those 2 weeks, I was the happiest I've ever been. For a split second, I was like, what if he's dead? And then I didn't care if he was or not. And I felt awful. How could I not care? How was I okay that someone who was my friend, and then whatever happened in that time period before he left, that wasn't real, and he was just using me. Why didn't I feel anything anymore? And it's because I didn't pretend to feel anything. I just did start feeling things again. I was talking to other people. I was flirting heavily with Bryce. And we kind of got together a little, maybe a month after everything happened. And I was so happy. And A month after that, he came back from rehab and texted me that I saved his life because I talked him down from shooting himself in the head on the phone, which I kind of remember having a panic attack when he was calling me saying he was gonna die. I was shaking, crying, and freaking out and just screaming. I just remember screaming and not hearing him answer, and I would panic and just start saying his name over and over and over again until he just went, yeah, like it didn't matter, like he knew I was breaking down and didn't care. And he told me he still loved me and knew I had a boyfriend and was okay with that, but said, like, if he ever hurts you, blah blah. And I remember thinking, Bryce could break me down and break up with me, and it would hurt so badly because I did love him. I do love him. I still do love my boyfriend, or else I wouldn't be with him right now. And it would hurt so much less than even considering being a thing again with him. I was an empty shell. I was just a ghost. And I would just cry all the time. And I used to never cry. I wasn't a crier growing up. And I guess I kind of suppressed everything anyway. But this made me just... I didn't know what he was doing to me. And when he came back, I remember talking to Bryce about it, like, hey, I'm gonna go with a group of friends, and Zaid's gonna come, I guess, because he's back, to go see a movie. And he was like, alright, just be careful. Like, I don't really trust Zaid. And I was confused. Because I didn't even see him as a bad guy back then. I didn't even know what was happening to me. And I kind of knew that what he was saying to me was awful. And when someone would tell me, I would say, yeah, I know, but, I did awful things too. But I didn't. I didn't. And I don't like being the victim. You always hear about these abuse stories and think that would never happen to me. I'm too average, I'm too boring. I'm me, I'm the most constant person in my life. It could never happen to me. And I showed my boyfriend some of the texts that we had when I was trying to break up, kind of, with him. I keep not knowing how to say when we broke it off, I guess, because, again, it wasn't official at all, because he was like, I'm too emotionally unstable, and I was like, alright, whatever. And he was like, he's being completely manipulative, right? This is all just bullshit. This is awful stuff he's saying to you. It's completely awful, and you're just buying into it. And I just reread all of it, and I was like, you're right. Oh my God, you're right. I didn't want to see it. It took me so long, even after I kind of realized it. I didn't want to admit it. I didn't want to be the victim. I didn't want to be a victim. He was the victim, you know. He tried to kill himself, and he's a minority, so he thinks everyone's being racist to him because he lived in like Mississippi or something like that before, which is a lot of racism there, I guess. I don't even know if that's true. He could be lying about that too, honestly. I would never know. Just because you're a victim doesn't mean you can't also be what he was. And I feel like I can't even talk to my boyfriend about it anymore because it was so long ago. And I don't even want to talk about it. I don't. But especially to him, he's gonna think this shouldn't matter anymore, Zoe. You should get over it. It's not a big deal. I still have nightmares about him coming back. I'm so scared of him. And it took me so long to actually block him on everything, because I don't know why it was so hard for me to do that. I think it was because I wanted to know if he was still alive. After a while of talking to everybody about it, about knowing exactly what he did to me and to Mallory and even to Jack, I didn't care if he lived or died. As long as he wasn't here, I don't care. I don't want to be a burden to anybody. I don't want to talk about it again. So I think this will be it. I don't know how I can tell Mallory to stop talking about it because it's her story too. She can't just ignore what happened to her. It's exactly what happened to me multiple times. He's really pushy like that. You'll say, no, I don't want to do that. And he'll move your hand. And say, like, you know, everything I do for you is the least you can do for me. Just do it. You know, don't be a tease. The only thing keeping me alive. I die without this. I need this. You owe me. You push your head. Grab you. I remember before a lot of things, before he did all these terrible things to me, he was at my house as like a friend. It was the first time I've ever went to my house before. We were just like started talking because I never really liked him in the first place, and I should have known. He's like an Oreo, and the top part is what everyone thinks he is at first. Everyone thinks he's awful and abusive and annoying, and you get to the middle part and you're like, oh, maybe he's not such a bad guy, he's misunderstood and stuff. But at the end of it, there's just another end of the Oreo, which is the same thing as the first. You should just trust your gut sometimes on people, especially him. And anyway, that day we were watching this really bad movie, like purposely bad. It was funny, kind of. And he kissed me, and I tried to play it off. I said something like, nope, I'm still gay. he laughed. And so I thought might be the end of that. And then he tried again, and I said, no, I don't feel anything. I don't feel anything. And he's like, try again. And he held my head. I tried to move away, and I couldn't. I was stuck. And after I just said, nope, nothing, and tried to deter him from doing it again. He kept doing it. I said, stop. But we didn't do anything past that day. And it got more and more grabby and sexual each time he came over. And I still would say, no, I don't want to do that kind of thing. I don't know how. He'd make every excuse. It was like I couldn't say no. My no's weren't good enough for him. My reasoning wasn't good enough. I was at my own house. My parents were there. I could have gotten help, and I just sat there and let it happen. I was so scared of getting him mad, of him saying I'm killing him by doing that, and pushing him away. Now I don't even care. I don't feel anything for him. No pity. No sadness. I don't care if he lives. I don't think about him enough to hate him. If I thought about him all the time, I would hate him so much. I would want everyone to know how awful he was. To everyone, what he did to me. What he did to Mallory. The same thing to her once. And she told me about it, and I knew every single card that he threw at her was the same ones he threw at me. It was like reliving it. He just kept pushing. One time he tried to go even further, and I screamed. And he got mad at me. He's like, what if your mom hears? I'm like, oh, sorry, I just, thought it'd be funny. And nothing else happened. It was left at that. It was one outburst of anger and then just disappointment instead of being angry at me, which was safer. I just wanted to be safe. I think this has gone really long, so I'm gonna end it up now. Bye.